Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Studio Rats Live Q&A number 84. Who thought we'd make it this far? My name's James Ivy.
I'm Paul Drew.
And tonight we are broadcasting to you in rather glorious 1080p. We've upped the ante from good old-fashioned 720, and we're now in glorious high definition. If it makes a difference, it probably doesn't, because my camera is still only 720, but hey, Paul's is much nicer. Hey,
Yeah, well, that's so true, actually. So your camera's 720, so it's not going to make any difference.
it might, because I think it might affect the audio quality. So if you think we sound better or we sound the same, please let us know. I mean, I'm using my lovely Shure microphone. Paul's got his voice of doom microphone above you. Let us know if it sounds any different, looks better, anything like that. We need to know, because we need to know if it's worth paying for. Other than that, yeah. Paul, what have you been up to?
Do you know what? I've been sorting the studio out. So I've been having a change round because I've got
Right.
So I was the idea was I was looking for 1 amp.
Right. But
so this is what happened. So I know. So I put the 2-rock up for sale on Facebook. I got it, as I said, I explained it. So I got it for a good price. I bought it secondhand, so I thought, do the video and sell it for the same amount of money. All good. And then people started, instantly I put it up. Loads of people were saying, "Oh yeah, can we come over? Can I come over? Can I come over?" So I just got it rigged up and plugged it in again, and I went, I can't sell this. It's too good. I cannot sell this. So I'm struggling a little bit. So I'm desperately trying to sell loads of stuff so I can afford both amps. But the matches has a problem,
right,
which we're trying to sort out.
Oh,
and yeah. So the problem with the matches is that the effects loop has got a dodgy. There's something happening with the effects loop. Now I don't know if this is valves or whatever. I don't know anything about this sort of stuff. Anyway, it's an unbuffered effects loop. Anyway. Put a reverb pedal in it on channel 1. The clean channel sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bruce might know about this actually. Bruce, I can see Bruce has just joined. Channel 1 sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is the clean channel, all the clarity and everything. Switch over to channel 2 with the reverb pedal attached, loses clarity. Like not the reverb, the actual tone.
The whole. All right.
The whole lamp loses clarity. Unplug the
effects loop.
Unplug the cables from the effects loop, and it comes back.
Interesting.
So this is what happened. I bought it from Renegade Guitars.
Yeah.
And they're going through some changes at the moment. Renegade Guitar, amazing guitar shop up in Worcestershire, I think, something like that.
Right.
We need to go up and visit. I think you and me need to go and do a visit up there. Possibly we'd do a night stay, go out on the beers.
Sounds like fun.
That sounds like It's a work trip. It's a work trip, love. Honestly,
it's a work jolly. Sorry, work trip. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do that. I think we'll do that in the next month or so. Cool. Anyway, spoken to them. I've been trying to get hold of Matchless.
Yeah.
They've been trying to get hold of Matchless. They're the Matchless distributors in the UK.
Yeah.
Matchless are absolutely shocking. Considering it's like, you wouldn't mind it if it's like a Boss Katana price amp. It's not a Boss Katana.
But it's not. Yeah.
No. Do you know what I mean? You want.
Have you tried phoning them in their time zone?
What, Matchless?
Phoning them from the UK like 10 o'clock at night, trying to get hold of them.
I haven't actually. Is that worth doing?
Yes, it's a doable thing. If you probably find they'll answer the phone and they'll speak to you and they'll be really helpful. It's just that, there's probably a very small number of people that they're all engineers. They're not, first and foremost, they're probably not marketeers or customer support people. They're probably engineers who've got soldering irons in one hand, tubes, valves, call them what you will, in the other, and they're busy making cool amps. They're not probably all that bothered about some bloke in the UK who keeps emailing. They'll speak to him on the phone. Just say
it isn't me, but it's the. I mean, I've emailed them as well, but it's the distributors in the UK that are trying to get.
But still, they're too busy making amps.
Well, they're not going to be selling amps if anyway. I don't know. Anyway,
I still think tonight after the show, call them, get a number for them, and call them, see what happens.
I'll do that. I'm going to do that. Apart from that, so I've completely rearranged my room.
Oh,
everything's all changing. So yeah, I haven't got enough space for anything anymore. So, but anyway,
welcome to my world.
I'm trying to sell loads of stuff. So if anyone wants anything, let me know.
I'm also on a bit of an eBay mission at the moment, or I will be on an eBay mission or a selling mission, but more of that shortly.
Nice. So what have you been up to?
I have had a very busy week. When we last spoke on Wednesday, this time last week, I had a keyboard playing friend of mine coming in on Thursday to do a session. We wrote some original music and bashed out some really interesting covers. We did 10 songs in a day.
Nice.
On Friday, I then did 10 drum parts, 10 bass parts. The appropriate songs then had rhythm and acoustic, and some electric lead guitar parts on Friday. So that was drums, bass, and guitars on Friday. Saturday night, I added some extra keyboards and stuff. And then Monday, I did all the vocals and mixed, had 10 songs, a whole album finished by Tuesday night.
Ooh.
And what's the best bit of all is that by the end of Tuesday night, as in late Tuesday night, the client had heard them, all 3 clients loved them, and they'd paid.
That's what you want. Nice.
The greatest clients in the world. It was a bit of a mission, but worth every penny. And I ended up singing everything as well, because we couldn't get a session singer in because of COVID and nobody was answering the phone, yada, yada, yada. I did it myself. They said it sounded great. And yeah, the world's a beautiful place. So there.
Nice.
Celebration of mini wave to me. And I am also selling a load of stuff off. If anybody's interested in one of these, my block audio patch, as in the 32 by 32 automated patching system, your automatic patch bait thing.
Nice.
Do reach out. It's a very cool box. I mean, it weighs an absolute ton. And the reason I'm getting rid is because I've basically outgrown it. I've outgrown 32 ways of switching. I now need, funnily enough, 64 ways, which is over there in the rack already.
Wow.
We should also do, I'm going to post the link to tonight's show. So if anybody wants to come on and join us, I was tardy and didn't do that last week.
Hold on a second. There's been a
development.
And we should. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
What do you say? Hello, you inspired me into buying a telly. I've had an ESP limited telly years ago. Bought a used Squire Affinity for about 115 Great British pounds. Surprised how good it is. Nice one, mate. Tellys are the king of guitars.
We'll talk more about tellies today.
Definitely will.
I have got a small. What's the collective noun for guitars?
Guitarage.
A fleet. A fleet.
I see.
A flight case. A flight case of guitars. A flight. I don't know.
No.
A large stash of guitars that are coming to your house tomorrow. We're going to basically have a guitar day and some effects and stuff and play, basically. Nice. Make some cool videos and be a bit controversial from time to time. Misses. Yes, but we should probably get on with some shouts and get on with some songs and stuff. So it's worth saying Dave Stockton's in the house, Mike Aiton is in the house, Pet Moxie. You do realise that Moxie was the character and Auf Wiedersehen Pet is the reference. It only worked on me afterwards.
I see.
Yes, Moxie was the character. Mike says 720 was for the birds. I'm not even totally sure what that means.
Hold on. 720.
It's 720 as in the reference to us being going from 720 to 1080 this week.
Yeah, okay.
Stephen James is in from Brisbane. Good morning, Stephen. Phil McNally's in. Dave Stockton's in. Safey's in the house. Bruce is in. And first one from Mike Aiton says...
Mike says, Paul, have you thought of Fuchs amps? I have thought of Fuchs amps. They're quite hard to get in this country, actually.
Mike, is that what you've got? Because I think he's got one, and it sounds awesome. I mean, it weighs the. I mean, on the list of things, there's black hole, there's the sun, the black hole, and then there's Mike's amp. It weighs an absolute ton.
Well, Fuchs are a bit like Two Rock. They're a brand that got into repairing Dumbles.
Right. Okay.
So they're Dumble-esque.
So that's why it sounds so good.
Yeah.
I think I've only ever heard it on once, and I heard it with the pre-broken headstock Ibanez Pat Metheny, and that was a great noise.
Yeah. I've never tried a Fuchs. I'd like to, actually. I'd like to. Yeah, I would like to.
Let's all descend on mics for a day and play loud guitar in his Shedio.
Let's do that. Nice. Actually, there is Clive K. Clive K has got a Fuchs amp that we were talking about. I wonder if Clive's in the house today. I wonder if we could organise a bit of a loan.
Interesting.
Where I could do, because I'd really like to try out one of those Fuchs, because they're supposed to be really good. Those good sort of poor man's Dumbles. And they're not poor man, they're very expensive, but they're you hear what I'm saying.
I do totally.
D Max says, hey guys, I have an HX Stomp and some days I think it's the best. Other days I think I should sell it and concentrate on my amps and pedals. Have you ever run into this type of thing? Advice?
All the time.
All the time.
Which is why personally I've got a reasonable selection of pedals, amps, like modelers, foot control-y things, different stuff for different days. Some days I'm working on a track, and this is kind of, we're going to come on to this a little bit. Some days it's real amps. Some days the 11 rack is just the solution. It's the right noise. It's all very track, mood, emotion dependent. Totally.
Yeah, I think it is. I think there is. I think it is, but I do think there's a thing about processors.
Right.
So definitely, I have more on and off days with processor pedals than I do with amplifiers, without a doubt. You switch on an amplifier, and I mean, you can get problems with amplifiers with valves and stuff, and currents and that sort of stuff. But I have a lot more fun playing through an amplifier than I do through an HX Stomp, Boss GT1000, whatever. What I would really advise, I'd recommend if there's any way you can afford to go and buy a decent valve guitar amp of your choice, the sort of style music you like, and get an attenuator, and it will change your life.
He's right, and it doesn't really matter which attenuator you get, whether you have one that does effects and all that sort of stuff, like the Boss Tube Amp Expander or the the 2 notes, or the Ox.
Yeah. But I think if you're playing live, sorry, if you're plugging into studio monitors, no, I don't think it matters which one you buy. It doesn't matter if you buy the 2 notes, the Boss or the Ox. If you like the idea of having digital effects built in, get the Tube Amp Expander. It's fantastic.
Cool.
I know all these things are expensive, but in the grand scheme of things, I think you'll enjoy guitar playing more playing through a decent power amp, sounding as it should with an attenuator. Good
advice. We like that.
Abjit Makap says, hey, good evening, guys. I'm thinking about to start my theory journey. Can you please tell me a quick roadmap where to start with and where to next? Good question.
Oh, theory. As in music theory, I'm assuming you mean by that.
I'm guessing.
I can't remember the so in the if you're in the UK, the music educational kind of thing is called the Associated Board, and the Associated Board are the company. So when someone says, "Oh, I've got grade 8 guitar, grade 8 violin, it's usually the associated board exams.
Okay.
They also do the theory exams and the tuition books for said exams. Now, I appreciate learning to pass a theory exam is a bit like learning to pass a driving test. It's not necessarily, you don't learn to drive a car, you learn to pass a test. But certainly those theory books and the theory grades will get you a good working knowledge of music theory. There's probably an idiot's guide to music theory. There's probably all those sort of things. A good book is a great way to start. And the associated board stuff I know is sort of well regarded from that point of view. Put it like this, I am certainly not the person to ask for advice on music theory. I can read, and I can, having worked for Sibelius for many years, my actual working knowledge of music notation and music theory in practice is pretty good. But for a teaching point of view, I'm definitely on shaky ground.
I don't think you should go down the traditional way of the, you know, like Oxford music, whatever it's called. What is it called? The English. What is the board called? It's not called.
It's called the Associated Board.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about for the last 5 minutes.
I wouldn't go down that. I wouldn't go down that route.
Okay.
I think there's so many. I think I would try and do it in a more fun way, where I'd look at it. I'd try and find someone on YouTube. Try and find someone that's. I tell you what. I mean, probably the king of music theory would be Rick Beato. As much as I hate saying it, that's probably where I would go.
Probably the Beato book actually is probably a good place to start.
Yeah, they are then. Yeah.
Yeah, as good as, and it's definitely available. That's for sure. Rick will have made sure of it.
It's always on sale.
Always on sale. It's like what's it called? It's like the DFS carpet, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. I think I'd do that.
Yeah,
I think I would do that. Okay. Dave McQuillan. Okay, we're gonna hold up plectrums. Company, check it out. People check out the Highland Plectrum Company. Awesome plectrums. Yes. Hi, David. Hope you're well. Top Load Telly. How much boost is designed? How much boost is designed in the second channel? How many dB?
What we're talking about? I'm assuming we're talking about your amp, your matchless amp.
I see. How many dB?
I think that the volume is it got a master? Is it got a volume for each channel?
So think of it like a 2-channel amp.
Okay.
It says it's a 3-channel amp. It's a 2-channel amp, really. So you've got EQ, and you've got channel 1 and channel 2 and 3, which share the same volume, and EQ.
Right. Okay.
How many dB? How much boost is designed in the second? I don't know, actually. I don't know Top Load Telly, unfortunately. I didn't know that would affect it, actually. Bruce Brooks says, could it simply be dirty or loose contact on the input or output on the effects, causing you to lose signal? Well, the funny thing is, Bruce, it doesn't do it on the clean channel. So it's got pristine, clean top end on the clean channel, just not on the dirty channels.
But maybe it's because the gain is higher through the circuit. That's you know how at low volume traffic signal, at high volume, sometimes it starts to break up when it can't transmit the current across maybe a thin or a broken, a very, very, just a tiny weeny connection.
Oh, I see. It's possible. It's got to be, for me, it's got to be a valve issue. It's got to be, because so the amps, and it's like it was a demo amp. It was like their demo amp.
Right.
I don't know how long it's been around for. You know how long it's been used for, or whatever. So I don't know if the valves need changing.
I'm looking forward to seeing it tomorrow, I have to admit.
It is a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing. Yeah, it's cool. Really nice. And yeah, just without the effects, ignore the effects thing. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Mike Aiton says, James, audio is cleaner on 1080, less compending going on. Companding.
But that's interesting because I think that's where we're having the problems with, trying to actually send audio, play guitars and stuff through this system. I think the upgrade to 1080 is going to be the option, and it's going to cost us an extra couple of quid.
Okay.
So what? All right, there we go.
George Keller says matchless amps 131044419222. Thanks, mate. That's amazing. Really appreciate that.
Screenshot now, and you've got the number. There you go.
I'm done it.
See, that's how genius I am.
Cheers. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, George. Farid Hempatpur.
Hempatpur. Yeah.
Guys, that matches was pretty special. Do you have any more amps on the list to try? I was planning on doing this big sort of series on it, and I cannot afford to. And unfortunately, a couple of amp manufacturers have been a little bit short-sighted, shall we say? I offered. Did I mention this last week? So I contacted. I wanted to try Hampstead.
Right.
Hampstead. Yeah. Nice amplifiers. Made not far from you, James. Actually.
Yes, my buddy's got one. My mate Lou's got one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, really nice hand-built amplifiers made in the UK, and I sent them a message saying I'm doing the series. Would love to feature one of your amps. There's no cost to you. Send me the amp. I'll do the review. Send it back. Nothing.
It's because they're interested in making amps. They're not interested in answering emails. I know.
It's crazy.
All of these companies could benefit from actually having someone who understands a little tiny weeny bit of marketing, as in the phrase "speculate to accumulate." It's definitely out there, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's just move on. If it's their loss.
But anyway, just to go back to Farid. Yes, there will be. I've spoken to the guys from. Do you know Mad Professor? Like Mad Professor pedals.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they made amps.
I don't know them, but I know of them.
Yeah. They make amps. So I've spoken to one of the guys there. Maybe, and it's possible that they're going to send one over. They make some really nice stuff.
Nice.
Alec Bourne, Midi Mad Scientist says, evening from Italy, gents. Evening, mate. Richard Poole, evening all. In your review, Blue Guitar or MT15? Oh, that's a really good shout. What do you think?
For variation, Blue Guitar probably. For inspiration, the
MT15 sounds. The drive channel, the overdrive channel on the MT15 is ridiculous. So good, but it's very genre specific, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
The blue guitar is definitely more versatile.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
But I love the MT15. Sounded amazing. Chris P. Actually, the MT15 is all valve, isn't it? It's a very close call. Chris P. Collective noun for guitars and expensive guitars.
Yeah, I think Chris has got it there.
A string of guitars. I like expensive guitars. I like that.
Yeah, and expensive guitars.
Oh, Mike Haynes is a cock.
Oh,
I have a friend in Ealing who has a Fuchs.
A Fuchs. Nice.
Pet says, nice spotting, James, on the pet reference.
Yes, it took me a little while.
D-Max.
Yes.
D-Max says, thanks. Anytime, mate.
It's all good.
Aristotle Dukas, on your match list, the loops jack might be oxidized, I guess he means, aka dirty. Plug in and out both jacks many times. Normally it cleans the jacks and will start to work again. Yeah, again, thanks for the suggestion, Aristotle's. I would agree with you if it did that. Yeah,
but again, I'm saying there could be a contact that's like really, really weak that works at low gain, but when you kick in the higher gain and it wants to push more signal through, it just could be. Stranger things have happened, certainly with valve amps.
Have you got a Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay. I was going to say,
No.
can you bring over? Have you got a reverb pedal?
No. It's on my list.
Yeah, I need to.
Hang on. No, I haven't. No, sorry, nothing reverberant.
Yep, I need to. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll do it later. Pet Moxie says Udemy seems pretty decent for theory-related topics. Not that I've sampled firsthand. There's so much theory on YouTube, you can't go wrong. You just have to sift through the shite.
Yeah, is that the illegal way of doing it? The shite.
Nedamido says music theory is so good to know. I've had a couple of guitar teachers that helped me connect theory with practice. Consider how much theory you need. That's a really good point. I do think it's a good. It's definitely a good thing to know. I wouldn't get so hung up on it.
I think what would be more helpful to a lot of players is chord theory, rather actual understanding chord progressions and how how notes are related to each other in certain chords. I think that's interesting. What I find when I work with keyboard players, because they can see all the notes, they tend to come up with more interesting harmonies quicker, because you can just see it and just hit it. You haven't got to go, oh, I wonder what happens if, I can't do that. You haven't got to think how to do it. You just play it on a keyboard.
Yeah, but a keyboard's very different because you're doing that. A guitar is that.
No, but I mean, but I understand that the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
But on a keyboard, you can see that they're laid out in front of you, aren't they? So you can see harmonically. That's why people tend to learn theory on a piano rather than on guitar.
Yeah.
So but understanding chord theory is quite interesting, and can get you out of a lot of trouble, certainly when you're writing.
Oh yes. Yeah. The thing is, I find sometimes I find with theory, and my theory is not amazing, but I find that I get, and I listen to a lot of songwriters and a lot of, say, guitar players or keyboard players that have no theory, and they come up with some really interesting things because they haven't got any theory, so they're not restricted to that.
I'm a great believer in learning the rules, but I'm a greater believer in breaking them. But it's also helpful to know the rules in advance sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good evening, A. Ahmed. Phil Cartoons, evening all. Hello, mate. Nedamido, I wouldn't recommend the Beto book, though. It's too big. Hundreds of pages of guitar chords, very little text and explanation. It's a huge theory reference book. KDH talks about it on his recent YouTube video. Yes, okay.
Well, there you go.
Mike Ayton says, your best theory guy on YouTube is the Italian bloke who says, hello, internet, and uses a whiteboard. That and buy the Beto book and get a teacher. I don't know that.
I have to say, a good teacher, someone who can go at your pace and will, when you get stuck, you can ask a question, is always the way to go. Yeah, especially with something that is, there's no, what's the word? There's, there are lots of different playing styles. Theory is either correct or incorrect. So,
yeah.
Just an idea.
Pet says Teoria is pretty resourceful, especially for ear training. Nice.
Interesting.
A ridiculous wonk. Hi guys, love the channel. I'm looking to upgrade my audio interface from an IK Multimedia Axe.io because I need more line level inputs for my modeler. Any recommendation on something with 4 inputs? Ridiculous wonk, where do you live? I've got an interface that I'm selling at the moment.
What are you selling?
A Presonus Quantum.
Oh,
which really good Thunderbolt interface.
If you want 4 inputs, I would heartily recommend. He says reaching. Hang on, 4 line level inputs. Do you know what? I actually would recommend this little boy.
Yes, and I know you're a massive, and I know you're a bit of a plugger for that.
But, I'm a massive fan. I was a fanboy before I worked for them. That's how I can justify saying it. It's because of the routing. The routing is so incredibly usable and flexible, and it just when you go, oh, I wish I was able to do that. With Antelope, you always can.
Sure.
Whereas other platforms are not so flexible, in my opinion.
So what would you go for? Okay, so you go for that. I'd 4 input. I would say a.
You couldn't go wrong with the Apollo, the Apollo 4, the Apollo X4, the equivalent to that. But it is quite a lot of money. Whereas the Zen Q is not a great deal of cash for 4-line level inputs, which also gives you mic inputs as well, and 2 sets of headphone outs, and ADAT optical, and DSP and stuff inside, and
God, it's gonna go on. Yeah. How much are they?
Top of my head, I can't remember. Let me have a quick look.
Okay.
Q. Price. Zen Q Synergy Core on Thomann, which is, let's face it, gonna be, or Thomann, is 775 quid.
Okay.
Now you could get something like a Focusrite 18i6 or 19i7000 or whatever they want to call it, which will give you 4-line inputs, but they don't sound as good as those or the Universal Audios. They just don't. Sorry, Focusrite, but your stuff's great. But if you want the next level, you're looking at Antelope or RME or someone like that. But it ain't cheap. You get what you pay for.
Absolutely. Aaron Short Music says, just unboxed a couple of Harley Bentons. Have you tried them? I still haven't tried a Benton.
I have, but it was a very, very, very long time ago, and it was an absolute dog. They are serious machines these days. And to be honest, Thomann won't send us any because they won't.
Bruce Brooks says, sorry guys, I had to take a business call. If I understand correctly, clean channel works with or without effects loop, and gain channel only works properly when nothing is plugged into the effects loop. That's pretty much true, Bruce. Yeah, so the clean channel sounds great with a pedal plugged into the effects loop. Even if I turn the pedal off, it sounds the same. Unplug the pedal, it sounds the same. With the pedal plugged in, if I turn on to the dirty channel, it loses clarity. Unplug the cables from the back of the effects loop on the amp, and all the clarity comes back.
Interesting.
Keep on playing says, hi you two. Paul, I want to go complete digital. Love the distinctive sound of several tube amps. Do you think I get around with a GT1000 core and a Laney LFR212? The Laney LFR212 is ridiculous good. Yes,
GT1000 is an awesome sounding thing.
Does sound great. Boss stuff, yeah, the Boss stuff sounds great. Yeah, you'll have a great time. Just it's not, if you're used to using amps. If you're used to using amps, you might have a bit of a learning curve with the whole sort of interface and sort of programming stuff. It's not quite as simple as just going, right, there's an amp, there's a great sound, there's a pedal, plug that in, and then play. It's sometimes you can get lost in the tone tweaking and stuff. But yes, I think you'd have a great time with that. It sounds great.
The trick to tone tweaking on anything, like be it Katana, be it GT1000, is to start where you would start in real life, with an amp and a cab.
Yeah.
Don't try and put everything in the loop to start with, because you'll just end up bogged down in crazy menu diving. Start with an amp and a cab, plug your guitar in, make a great noise, then add the next thing to improve the noise. But don't go and think you can do it all from scratch without starting simple. When I'm building patches on anything, I start with an amp and a cab, and that's it.
Yeah. Nice. Den of Tone says the new Studio One update to 5.5 is really good. Oh, nice one. I need to check that out. Good shout. Phil Cartoons, you've got me interested in attenuators. I miss cranking my Marshall loud. Meantime, I've been enjoying the GT1000 and just downloaded your free patches. Excellent. The driven clean with dual amps is beautiful. Thanks, mate. Can't beat an amp. You cannot beat an amp.
I'm looking forward to getting my Marshall back, because I'm having that back tomorrow.
I'm so pleased you said that. I've taken up so much
It's quite a sizable thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's taken up so much space, and it's yes. So I'm glad.
It's a beast.
I'm glad you're having that back. Yes, that's a fantastic sounding amp. Keep on playing. Just your 2 cents. Do I get along with the 3 knobs on the GT1000 core, or maybe adding a separate foot switch? If so, which is your predict? Thanks for your support. Yeah, you can do a lot with it. It depends how much switching you do. It all depends on how much effects you want to turn on and off, how many things. But yes, look, to add a separate foot switch is not going to cost you a lot of money. You can buy an added, 30 quid or something like that. Will get you a dual extra foot switch. So I think it's probably worthwhile getting the extra foot switch.
Yeah.
Bruce Brooks says, what is the exact model of amp? I want to take a quick look at the schematic. Well done, Bruce. It's a matchless Independence 35.
Mm-hmm.
It's a non-reverb version.
Non-reverb. Independence 35.
Matchless Independence 35. Ahmed says, for guitar theory, I just picked up a lick library DVD called Essential Guitar Pure Theory by Danny Gill. Nice one.
I'm liking all this. It's not something we've ever talked about before.
No. Chris P. Music Theory for Guitar. Brian Kelly Zombie Guitar on YouTube. He puts things in a way even I can understand. Nice one. Nice to shout out to give other YouTubers a shout out.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, hold on. There's something happened.
I know. I'm about to do it. Don't worry.
I didn't see that. I know. Yeah, we should do that. See, as soon as we see them, we should
do them.
Cheers, Pet. That's very nice, you mate. £10 last week. Sorry, lads. Needed the other 10 for some beers, mate. I would not want to deny you of £10 worth of beers. But
yes.
Thank you so much.
Where we come from, that's about 2 beers if you're lucky.
Yeah, but that's a beer each. James is over tomorrow night. I might even take him out for lunch.
Woohoo!
Yeah, thanks, Pet. That's very kind of you, mate. Nedomido, the Italian guy that says hello internet, his channel is called Music Theory for Guitar. It's pretty good, but I still recommend a teacher who can help you with what you need. Nice one.
I like that. That's good info, that.
I like that. Aristotle Ducas, or try a different 12x7 that you know that works on the 3rd position on your match list. So first tube is the one furthest away from your power tubes. That's interesting. Of course it is. That makes complete sense. So it'd be the 3rd position.
Yes.
I think what I'd like them to do, I'd like them to send me a whole set of tubes.
That would be a good token gesture on a
I think so. Well, the tubes, yeah, I mean, anyway, but we'll see if that happens. But that's a great suggestion. I have got an X7 somewhere.
Yes.
Pet says, hard to look past UAD now, sadly. Game changer. Yes, they are, definitely. Great stuff. Really good stuff.
Yes. Although, and you can't go against this, when your UADs were in your rig and we switched over to the Antelope stuff, you said there's definitely sonically a difference that you enjoyed with the Antelope stuff.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not night or day. It's not like, oh my god, there's such a difference. It's like they do. I was very impressed with the way it sounded. Yes, I did. It definitely sounded. Yeah, it sounded
clean.
Yes,
yes, yeah.
Good word for that. Aristotle Ducas, 3rd one should be the loop.
So the loop will have its own valve. I didn't know that. There you go. It could be that.
Is it a valve-driven loop though? Are all valve amp effects loops?
I don't know.
Oh, well, do you know what I'll do? Thanks, Aristotle. It is a really good. It's a really good point. I think we'll wait till the guys from Matchless get back, and we'll say just in case, because I don't know, because there's so many valves in there. It could be that
it's like an explosion in a glass factory.
Yes. So let's definitely. But that's a great suggestion.
Yes, and also if Bruce has a look at the schematic, he might be able to tell you which one's which as well.
He would do actually. Yes, he would.
There we go.
But cheers, Aristotle. That's really really good help. Richard Paul says Ampex looks the nuts by what I've seen so far. Yes, definitely. Mike says he's tempted by the Ampex too. Just I I think
there's an Ampex too.
Nah, no, but the Ampex I think it's fantastic. I'm not sure about the pricing yet. I think £2,000. I can't see, but the stuff sounds great. Stuff sounds great. Philip Hoy, loving your GT1000 core videos. Maybe buy one. Nice one. Was wondering whether you have any tips for a good ambient reverb setting similar to the ones you can get on the Big Sky. Yes. I mean, the Big Sky does those sort of shimmer verbs really well. There's a reverb inside the GT1000 that does that sort of stuff. Whether you're going to get exactly what you get out of a Big Sky, I mean, you should. There's no doubt. The reverb algorithms in the GT1000 really good. Is it the modulated reverb? I think it's called.
That's the one. Yeah. Good sounding stuff. Just
in case, Paul, you said your Line 6 pod video that you got it on eBay for 40 quid. That was 5 months ago, and they're now 100 quid or so second hand. World's gone mad. Oh, mate. Isn't that funny? That's one thing I use for a video, and it's just stuck up there now, just doing nothing.
Yep, you could make some serious dough on that. We can make at least a decent profit.
Gibbs, hello guys. Hello, mate. Max Hodges, happy new year, and to you.
Happy new year, Max. They're starting chatting amongst themselves, which is always good.
Always good. Mike Van Leeuwen, have you tried putting the Boss IR200 in the power amp of the Katana and the GT1000 core versus IR200 for amp sounds? I don't need a lot of effects. Okay. I haven't put the IR200 in the power amp of the Katana. The only thing is because
the IR200 has got the speaker cabinet emulation.
So it's almost like you'd have to disengage that, which you can do, but then what's the point? I would say. I guess for like maybe if you want to use the IR200 as your preamp, and then take out a Katana live, great, really good idea. Yeah. Okay. And next question, and no, sorry, mate, I have to go back one.
Sorry,
we didn't answer the whole question. And GT1000 core versus IR200 for amp sounds. I don't need a lot of effects. Get the IR200. If you don't need a lot of effects, get the IR200. It sounds fantastic.
Cool.
Carl Thompson. Hi, gents. Just saw your video on attenuators. Does a volume box in the effects loop do the same? No, it doesn't, Carl. What you're doing, if you put a volume box, something like the JHS, I don't know what it's called, little black box thingy, stick that in the effects loop. What you're doing is you can crank up your preamp tubes, but then it's restricting what's going to the power amp. So you're driving your preamp tubes, but you're not cranking the power amp tubes. And your power amp tubes is where the magic is for me. I think James would agree with that.
Totally. And it's the bit that's lost on most people because they buy 50, 100 watt amps and they're given the beans. Which of course is sensible because it would blow most people's faces off.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I tried, and I had the matchless going today, and had to engage the master. The master volume is 35 watt amp, and I mean, you can't get it past. What's it on? Like 2. It's like nothing. Before blowing your ears off. It's so loud.
Lovely.
James, hey guys, now that NAMM is postponed to the summer, will the companies hold out on their new releases, or will they still release products now? Mind you, would there really be any new products, considering all the supplier, and manufacturing delays? Excuse me.
NAMM, yes, the actual NAMM show is delayed. It is worth noting that the good people at the National Association of Music Merchants do have an event on next week. It's an online thing called Believe in Music. Starts Friday. It is free to register for, depending on where you are in the world. Depends on what time it is. I think it's sort of mid-afternoon here in the UK and runs all through the night. Loads of seminars, cool things going on, performances. Some live Q&A. The problem is with a lot of these things, it's always pre-done. It's a video package they just broadcast. The live stuff is where it's at. I'm sure it'd be good fun, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to learn from it. Be lots of seminars, all the educational stuff. That for me is not what NAM is about. NAM is about people getting together and talking shop, and they talk shop from the moment they wake up to the last drink in the bar to the moment they fall asleep. That's what NAM is about. Anyone who hasn't been, you have to put it in your diary for next year. If there's a way you can blag a ticket, it is a trade-only event, technically speaking, but most of us know someone who works in a shop or can get us a pass. It's a very cool event. Rockstar Girlfriend Saturday is always worth a laugh.
It is fun.
And I can leave the rest. I'll leave up to you. But no, I mean, it's going to be different this year. I think there will be some products that are launched next week. Basically, there is always, or normally, there is always the run up to NAM, that the stuff gets leaked out a little bit. There's a few teasers and tidbits. There are some products coming next week. I know about a couple. Will people hold off for the summer? Possibly, but I don't even think Summer NAM is going to be as big as it would normally be. They've already cut a day from the show anyway, and it's a 3-day show, not 4-day. And I've already heard that a lot of the big players won't be going, because it's the wrong time of year. It's the wrong time of year. It's the wrong time in the development cycle for a big show. It will be great, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not going. I've already said it's like, for a start, it's right in the middle of Jen's and the kids' birthday, which would go down like a dose of salts. But mainly it's due to the flights and accommodation, because it's the summer. It's the summer, and it's at Disney. Everything is just going to be
crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Yes. So I think companies will still. I don't think the supply and demand thing has actually stopped development that much. It might stop things getting through to production and actually getting out to. But some companies will announce stuff that's not ready for the next 2 years anyway. Slight digital. Sorry, Stephen, but you asked for that.
You did.
Yeah. Stuff will come out. There'll be new stuff. I don't think it'll be as prolific as previous years, but there will be some stuff coming out next week. So keep your eyes on NAM. Believe in music. Yeah.
And have you just seen the amount of PRS Silver Sky SE videos that are? It's gone. It's like every YouTuber and their mum is doing a video on it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. What's bizarre is it's not a cheap guitar. It's £1,000 guitar.
It's not, and I was thinking about this because it's everyone's going, it's a PRS SE for 800, it's 900 quid, whatever it is. And then you go, well, actually, it's a Far Eastern made guitar for 900 quid. Which, and I know it's going to be great. It is going to be great, and they are great. But a decent Squire's good for 400 quid.
Yeah,
it's made in the same, and that's not knocking. That's not knocking the PRS. I think the PRS Silver. I love the PRS Silver Sky. I think it's a brilliant guitar, but it's still not a cheap guitar. You're right.
No.
Aristotle Dukas. I tried to look for a schematic too, but could not find one for the Independent. So just think that the third one has to be for the loop. Brilliant. Well, that's amazing. Thanks, mate. I didn't realize it worked like that, but yeah, I've been educated. Keep on playing. I know playing a digital modeler is always a payoff, but there are so many tube amps out there with their own distinctive sound who I adore. So that's the payoff. I know I missed something. Unfortunately, you will, and you'll probably come back to guitar amps and go.
We both have. We both have in a big way. I have in a big way. The pile of amps is kind of. I think, oh God, it doesn't work there. Right, here we go. I totally forgot about this one.
Phil Manelli, Audient ID44 is great for the money. Very true.
It's very, very true, and it is a great unit.
20 in, 24 out, and it's the same mic pre's as the consoles. Nice.
It certainly does. I have one of their consoles here.
Nice. Max Hodges, fun start to the year, moving to M1 Mac. Nice one.
I have an M1 Mac Mini.
Look at that guitar rack.
I know. It's a pretty awesome selection of goodies Max has got. I've got an M1 Mac Mini. and it's wicked. I've only actually switched it on about 3 times because I'm using it for streaming, and at the moment, obviously, I'm not using it for streaming. But it'll be coming with me to Manchester in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And you'll be driving it, so you'll be the first person to actually use it in anger.
In a couple of weeks.
Well, a bit more than that. But
can you send me some dates?
February the summer. I have sent you all these, Paul. They're all in emails. I'm organised like that.
Oh no. Pet says, do either of you have a preference for high impedance or mic'd with regards to recording acoustic guitar into Apollo? P.S. South Wales has many cheap garages for the Batman juice. Oh, do you know what? About Batman juice.
Batman juice?
Beers, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Talking about
garages. Like that.
There's a friend of mine that's a director of a brewery in Wales, and they own loads of different pubs, and I can't think of the name of the beer, but they do something called Double Dragon.
Right.
Good beer.
Surely it's Double Dragon. See.
Double Dragon.
A high Z versus mic'd. To be honest, I'd go both. If there's the option, I'll always go both. And I'll tell you for why. If I'm running into an Apollo, there is an amazing plugin for UAD called Woodworks, and it's a really cool piezo to acoustic converter plugin. It sounds really, really good. So if for example, my acoustic has a passive plugin in it, a passive pickup, which is basically a microphone in it. So even plugged in, you still get a certain amount of outside world sound, which is a bit weird. But on the same thing, it also has a piezo, so I've got 2 outputs and I can run that way as well, which is totally flat. So if I find I get a problem with the internal mic sound, I can use the piezo and use this thing called Woodworks. It's amazing.
I hate with a passion. I hate piezo guitar sound.
But if you're recording with a group of people in the same room, and you can't put a mic up, you have to do that, and you have to then fake it.
I think the only time a piezo is any good is for live. That's the only time for me I'd ever plug it in.
Why is it though that all live engineers make piezo pickups sound like everything from about 18k upwards?
Because I think they try to take out any resonant frequency that could just go whoop.
But if there's no feedback in a piezo system, there can be no feedback. It's not a microphone, so they can actually leave it full range. They haven't got to make it so it's going tink tink tink, horrible tinny thin horrible nasty noise. Why do live engineers do that?
There is feedback. If
you don't get feedback from a piezo, you get feedback from a microphone. That's the whole point of piezo pickups.
I've definitely had feedback from a piezo. Wow. Because it's not. It's the body. It's the sound that.
It's not. It's the piezo. It's a piezo bridge. A piezo crystal converts movement, oscillation into electricity. That's how it works.
Sure. But then the guitar body will resonate, the strings will resonate, hence there's a resonance that will then turn into feedback.
But still, you notch out 1 or 2 frequencies. You don't have to notch out everything below 18K, everything above 18K. You know, it's ridiculous.
I couldn't agree more with you. I could not agree more.
Yes. So live engineers, you've been told.
We used to have a live when I was in a band called McCabe. We had an engineer that used to come around with us, and he was great actually. French guy called Pierre, I think we called him Pepe. He was quite good.
How very predictable of you.
Yes. Oh yes. Mild racism. Just in case, in retrospect, it was Facebook. I saw the pod for £100 and not eBay. Justin, if you want a pod, you can have my pod for what I paid for it. Just give me a shout. And yes. Mm-hmm. Martin O'Neill, if non-electric is allowed, any thoughts on recommended versatile acoustic guitar, preferably with a pickup, for £1,000 or less? Eastman keeps popping up, but I can't find any nearby to try. Check out Faith. The top end Faith guitars are about that sort of money, and they sound amazing. I'd go Taylor. I'd go Taylor or Martin.
So yeah, but the Faith stuff is very, very good. But yes, but I think you'd struggle to get a Taylor or a Martin for less than £1,000.
No, you can get a Taylor. You can get a Taylor and a Martin for less than £1,000. It might not be as high spec as the Eastman, because the Eastman is made in the Far East.
Yeah.
And so are Faith.
Yeah.
But you can guarantee that if you then decide to get a more expensive guitar, that'll be worth.
And also you might get a second-hand Taylor or a second-hand Martin for under £1,000.
Definitely.
Never count out the second-hand market. Certainly with guitars, never.
Taylors sound great, and Martins are just fantastic.
I would always say a Taylor is a more modern sound than a Martin, if I'm honest.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yes, I've got a Taylor. It hasn't got a piezo in it though.
Anywho.
Mike says M1 Mac, not for me, as too many plugins in Pro Tools don't work yet.
That is true, but it won't be long, I don't think.
Aaron, Short Music, love NAMM. I hope summer happens, and we'll definitely go if it does. Yeah, we need to hook up. If there's anyone that's if I do decide to go, it'd be nice to have a bit of an evening on the beers.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean? It'll be nice to have one. It'll be every night.
I know it's a lot of fun. NAMM is a lot of fun for beers. Yes, but I mean, like with the community.
Yeah. Yes.
Mike Ayton says, Martin, try an Alvarez custom build. My new few just bagged one. What's a
nephew?
Blue Epiphones and everything else for £1,000 out the water, only £600. Nice. And Martin O'Neill, thanks, Mike Ayton. We'll see if I can find one to try.
We're on
that. Max says, Mike Ayton, yeah, not a move made by choice. It's getting there, but a lot of casualties. They're probably.
They're chatting now. I'll skip through these because they can see them themselves.
Okay. Jacob Baranowski. Hope they confirm my prediction that Chris Pratt is the kid that Alan Grant intimidates in the first movie. It's not very scary, like the 6-foot turkey. Imagine yourself. What is going on? I don't know what's going on. I
don't necessarily think that was meant for us, but hey,
I love it. Double Dragon, Fenafel. Thank you. Yes, there we go.
Well, well done for pronouncing.
Felin, whatever. Yes.
Felin. Yes, you.
Yeah, Charlie needs to bring some beers around to me because he's not very forthcoming with beers. Steve Bull, if you guys are having a night out when up in Manchester, would love to buy you a few beers. Oh, thanks, mate.
We are up in Manchester in a few weeks. I can tell you exactly when, Steve. I'm going to look in my diary now because that's how desperate I am for a night out on the beers. We are up in Manchester from the 11th to the 13th or 14th, the morning of. Our probably only night for a beer will be the 11th because the 12th and 13th we are going to be busy. Sorry, Paul.
No, sorry, mate.
Yes, but we are up there middle of February, which will be quite exciting.
Nice.
But it's always around Valentine's Day, that particular show as well, which always goes down well with the half. Anywho.
Phil Cartoons. My main impetus for trying digital and getting a katana was lugging my Marshall JCM 2000 combo down the stairs for practicing gigs. That is, that's always the thing about. I think loads of people moan about lugging tube amps, but tube amps sound amazing. I think I'd rather struggle carrying than and enjoy the gig.
Yeah, that's what dolly boards are for. And I said dolly boards just before anyone picks me up for me too.
Dolly, what was the other?
I said that's what dolly boards are for.
Oh, dolly birds. Okay, I see.
Yeah. I wouldn't ask a dolly bird to pick me up.
Yeah, I love. Yeah. That's a classic old English word.
It is.
Next, yeah, should we do? Next question.
I'm being picked up that Pizzos will feedback. I will have to go with the whole. I've never had it happen myself, and I've mixed acoustic guitars dozens of times, hundreds of times. If they do, they do. But I've never had it. Maybe I'm that good an engineer.
Yes, the body resonates and feeds back.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong. The guitar just goes and starts to go bonkers. Okay, next one. Phil Cartoons, my main reason for getting a katana. And
Same one.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
the same thing.
Mike Aiton says SE Silver Sky sounds very close to the expensive version. The John Mad video for PRS is great. He is, yes. Marky FX, same thing with the EVH brand stripe guitars. EVH Stripe series guitars are around $1,100 and a Player Series Strat around $800 with more options, and both are made in Mexico. Same guitars essentially.
Yeah.
Yamaha Red Label acoustic. Good shout.
Yamaha stuff's great.
Yeah.
And actually the Fender acoustics sound really good.
Right.
You have to deal with the fact they've got a Fender headstock on an acoustic, which to me looks bonkers, but they're actually not bad. They're really not. I'm not thinking Acoustasonic or whatever it's called. I'm not thinking that thing. I'm thinking the actual big body acoustics. Although the Acoustasonic might not be a bad shout.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout. Oh, excuse me.
Okie dokie, right.
Martin Collier says, I had my Spark amp from day one, pre-order days. Got it, liked it a lot, but dark. Last week went from headphone out to monitors. Wow, sounds excellent. Play it more than my Marshall Plexi and 2 notes. Nice one.
Wow. Let's not talk about this because I blew the power supply on my. Well, I didn't do it. I plugged it in. It went, and I thought to myself, that ain't going to work now.
Bruce says, sorry, I had to take another business call. Paul, I need you to try something.
How dare you?
Take a short jumper and plug it into the effects loop and see if that affects the tone. Bruce, do you mean like plug the send into the return
Directly?
Yes, that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
I will do that. I'll do that tomorrow. James is over tomorrow, and James can tell. Yeah, because it'd be nice to actually go, right, James, do it.
Do that. Yeah. There's nothing like
going.
Yeah. It slows you down, doesn't it? Yes.
Good shout, Bruce. I'll do that. The Den of Tone. Most every big name guitarist out there has a D28 for a reason.
It's a good point. But a D28 is not a cheap guitar.
No. Very nice, though.
No.
Can you be more specific why Taylor sounds more modern than a Martin? I hear people say this, but never allude any further. I always associate acoustics with older sound anyway.
It's all to do with mid-range. And it's to do, in my opinion, it's to do with mid-range, where a Martin will sound, and this is a massive generalization, even is the right word. A Martin will sound slightly scooped in the mid-range, and often a Taylor is slightly more. A Taylor is slightly scooped in the mid-range, making it sound a bit brighter generally, and often a Martin is slightly more pushed in the mid-range, making it sound fatter. One man's fat is another mud. One man's thinner is another man's. Well, one man's scooped is another man's thinner. We're talking very, very, very fine amounts of EQ shaping, tone shaping overall. But that's my experience. Taylors tend to sound a little less dense in the mid-range. Martins often sound a bit fuller in the mid-range. Very, very, very broad church opinions putting out there. Just go for it. Sorry.
I think you're right to a certain extent. I think yes, if you picked up the same guitar, if you picked up like an auditorium or a parlor guitar and stuff like that, I think you're right. I think it would sound a bit more scooped. I think with Taylors, I think it's like a construction thing because it's more modern construction. It's like it's not a bolt on neck, but you can remove the neck on a Taylor.
Right.
And I think it's things like that. It's a bit like, I'm not saying like a Martin's like if you think like a Martin's like a Gibson, a Taylor's like a Strat.
Yeah, there's kind of a yeah. I'll go with that.
They all sound great. It just can't beat.
Yeah.
Mike Van Leeuwen says, I finally tried a Brunetti Singleman tube amp, a 35 watt version. They also have a 16 watt and a 50 watt version. Great Fender Deluxe style amps, good quality and a good price. Nice one.
That's worth a look for the my Fender type option.
David Brose, late arriving. You guys going to see Pete Thorne tonight? Oh, apparently, yeah. Pete Thorne's in the UK doing stuff or something. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, is he? To 3 people who've gone out because we're all scared of COVID.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, it was down in Bournemouth early in the week.
Oh.
No, unfortunately not. I'd like to see Pete Thorne live. Actually,
Absolute? Was he? Or was he actually music story?
He's playing at Bournemouth in the
Bic.
I think in the Bic. Yeah, wow. I don't know who he's playing with. He does some stuff with the Queen, some Queen tribute band occasionally. So it might be that.
Cool.
Mike Aiton says D28 muddy. No thanks. Have you seen the pedal show Dan's Kincaid acoustic guitar builds? Yes, but I imagine that is crazy money.
Yes, probably.
A. Ahmed just took delivery of a new Gordon Smith Special S Strat Swampash. Sienna Sunburst Maple Fingerboard plays and sounds fantastic. Awesome.
I bet. That sounds lovely.
Crean is in the house. Hello, mate.
Is in the house.
Hope you're doing well. Lando, Jack ever coming back? Missed that. Yeah, Jack ever coming back? Missed that guy on the show. Yeah, I miss Jack. Don't know. To be honest, I haven't spoken to Jack in ages, unfortunately. I'd like him to come back. Martin O'Neill, got to go. Thanks. I tell you what, Lando, go on Jack's channel on Anderton's and say when you come.
When you're going back on the Studio Rats. That'd be funny. Hang on.
Pet says got a Hudson acoustic which only paid 400 notes for many years ago. Still holds up. I hooked that up to the UAD plugin. James suggested. Nice one. Paul Taylor. Hi, guys. Hi, Paul. I have 2 notes torpedo, which is great. The attenuator gives a set 20 dB drop. Great for home use, but a bit too quiet for stage. Yes. Found Audio Storm attenuator set 10 dB or 18 dB. £99. Fab. Love it. Nice one.
Cool.
Audio Storm. Don't know them.
No.
The Den of Tone. I agree with James. The result in a Martin being louder.
Yeah.
Oh, David Brose, he said it's Pete Thorne. He's playing in London tonight.
Oh, right.
Nice.
We don't know.
Aaron says Martins tend to have more low end and resonance.
Yeah, which is pretty much kind of where I was going. Ish.
Martin Collier, Taylor Big Baby feels like electric to play, but sounds good. Bolt on neck.
Okay, we've got to the end of the questions, which is amazing because we don't normally do that before we get to the new gear and stuff. However, before we get to new gear, I've got some gear to show off.
Show it off.
Right. This was launched by the good people at that well-known mixing desk manufacturer in the UK.
James, can I interrupt? Can I interrupt because I will forget.
What?
And I promise I'll remind you. Sorry, guys, this is completely off of topic. And can you reply to Elroy?
I will do. I'll do it later on.
Cool. Nice.
Right. So this arrived today in the post. I'm quite concerned that the courier marked it as delivered to my face. I was out and this was left on the doorstep.
Jeez.
Fortunately, I have quite a sizable drive, but this is the Big 6, the SSL Big 6. And do you know what? It is awesome.
How much is it?
It's about $3,000, I think. But it is a lot of thing for $3,000. I mean, it's only 4 mic pre's, which instantly puts, but you get a lot of control of those 4 mic pre's, and you get loads of stuff coming back, and it's just a really cool thing. I've yet to really dig into it, but I'm actually going to take it to an event I'm doing this weekend. I want to use it live, but it is a full-on audio interface as well. Do
you know what? I think you can wait. You can wait a couple of months and wait for Behringer to copy it.
I almost hate myself for saying it, but you're probably right. So yeah, that's the Big 6. But also this week, in fact, yesterday, I got my auction guitars back. The latest batch of auction guitars back from Steve at Guitar Lodge.
That's nice.
Look at that bad boy.
Nice. We like that.
My Telly Thin Line. And it is, I mean, you'll love it. It's got a baseball bat of a neck.
Nice.
And it sounds absolutely, I mean, it's going to sound, I don't know how it'll sound acoustically through the interwebs, but
very loud.
It's Yeah, it's blooming loud for an acoustic, and for acoustically, it sounds amazing. I plugged it in. I've been using it on. It sounds awesome. So I'll bring that with me tomorrow, so we can do a telly off. I'll bring my 60th anniversary one as well.
You're not going to beat the best telly in the world.
Well, no, you think that, but this is awesome. It is Japanese, but it sounds amazing, and the pickups sound really great on it. But the surprise of the auction is this bad boy.
I can't wait to try that. I'm really excited. I'm more excited about trying that.
Yeah, it's just. It's such a bizarre thing because it's so light, but it.
How much did you pay for that?
That's £110, that guitar. It cost me nearly as much for the setup and the tweaking and all the. There was a complete mess going on inside the electronics that he'd obviously clearly done something crazy to. It's got a really weird wooden bridge piece.
Yeah, they do that. You can get replaced, I'm sure.
The pickups sound amazing. The pickups sound absolutely off the chart amazing.
I love that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that coming over with you. I've got to find some cases to bring them in because otherwise I'm just piling them all up in the back of the car.
Yeah,
not ideal.
No, I like that.
So the answer is, has there been any gear this week? Because obviously with NAMM next week, I suspect not a great deal of new releases.
So there are a couple. Shall I share my excuse with people? I do apologise for my yawning. It's a dog. Keep me up still. Who'd get a dog?
Who'd get a dog? Not me. Not yet.
Okay.
No. Right, here we go. We're in.
Oh, hold on. Airport photos that show a bit. I'm more interested in that at the moment. Okay. Here we go.
Me too. Not me too,
but Orange introduces the Guitar Butler, a fully featured rig in a box preamp pedal. I think that's quite exciting. Orange stuff's great.
I'd like the one I'd really like is actually the forerunner of Orange, which was a matte amp.
The matte
and
amp.
a friend of mine had one, and they sounded absolutely amazing. But probably the amp I've only heard that was any louder was an AC30 on full tilt.
Yes. Yeah, matte amps, good stuff. So I haven't seen the video yet, but it's not cheap.
Well, no, orangey stuff generally isn't.
Well, some of their stuff's quite reasonable. Some of
the good orange stuff isn't cheap.
Yeah, but yeah, $429 of your finest dollars, if you will. I don't know if it's got valves in it. I don't know if it's what's it got? Do pedal direct? No, it doesn't say anything about valves. But I could be wrong. Yeah. But anyway, it's orange, so it's going to sound good. There's that. I mean, I'm really sort of digging the depths of things at the moment. But PRS unveils mesmerizing Aranthe private stock and 2408 switch-equipped S2 and SE electrics. Yeah, I think the only thing to talk about is the Aranthe. I mean, it's not
that's
for me.
Beautiful though.
It's very. I mean, I get it.
I like the body. I think the body's stunning. I'm not too bothered about the neck, but the timber on the body is amazing. I'm talking about the guitar at this point as well.
Yeah, I love the body. Yeah, that neck needs it needs all that stuff taken off.
Yeah, but it's pretty, isn't it?
It is pretty, and I get it, but it's $11,700.
Oh my good grief!
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of manju. Apart from that, that's about that. Gibson Custom Shop. There's a new Custom Shop special edition they've done. You're going to laugh at this. So this is
that's not a Gibson. That's a Fender.
Sorry, oh mate, I'm getting tired. Fender Custom Shop.
Or with a humbucker in the neck.
Yes. Oh no, you can get that's a standard sort of Keith Richards, isn't it? McCorber.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is Terry Kath from Chicago. It's modelled on his one.
From Chicago, as in Pete Cetera, Chicago.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing is, are you ready for this?
It's a £10,000.
I don't think this is going to be a big sort of like, oh my god, this is coming out, because he's not really he was a great guitar player obviously, but he's not like Clapton or even Keith Richards bringing out a guitar. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, but still, how much do you think?
10 grand.
20,000. $20,000, or
that's a lot of
18 grandage.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
It is for
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on.
Yeah. That just looks wrong to me. I don't understand what's going on with Kurt Hammett with the Flying V. It looks like the Flying V is bigger than he is.
It probably is. It's probably, if you put it down on its spikes, it probably is taller than him.
Yeah. So Kurt Hammett and Adam Jones Flying V models are on the horizon apparently.
Oh, well, okay, fine.
And
you really are scraping the barrel, aren't you?
Sorry, mate. Yeah, that's literally about it today. So I'm coming back. There we go.
There he goes. Ooh, zoom. Well, there you go. That was the news. I suspect more will happen next weekend, as of Friday, because NAMM starts then. But means we'll probably have next to nothing to talk about next week either.
It's all good.
Right, here we go. We're back into it.
Safety says, the Big Six. Really curious to know what you think about it.
If it's anything like the 6, I really liked the 6. There was a few things I thought about the 6 that it should have had, and I think the Big 6 will have it. I still think it should be called the Big 12, but that could just be me and my requirement for many mic pre's. That's just a me thing.
Aaron says Martin SC13 is a good modern take from Martin. Nice. Queenar says the new UA Volt interfaces look quite interesting.
There's
they do.
2 huge problems with them.
Go on.
3 technically.
Go on.
In my opinion, there's 3 problems with them. 1, they're USB, which means they probably don't work with. I don't think they support Luna.
Oh, I see.
2, there's no DSP inside them. Therefore, you can't use UAD plugins with them. And the whole point of buying a UA interface is you buy into the plugin architecture. And 3, they've got a UA badge on them, and they really don't look like they were designed by UA. They look like they've been bought in OEM from somewhere in China. That's what they look like. They are cheap.
I'm sure they
are cheap, but they look it as well, in my opinion.
Okay.
Sorry, UA. Bit of a miss there.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's all good. James G. Robertson. Hi, Paul. Was wondering if you've tried the Fender Deluxe Reverb Tonemaster. I haven't actually. Do you know what? I hate to say this. I'm sure I must have done, but I can't think I've ever actually tried a Fender Deluxe.
Even I've paid for a Fender Deluxe.
Yeah. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've been into a music shop and someone's got, plug into that, but it's not. I'd like a Deluxe because it's a nice size. Would I buy the Deluxe like a normal Deluxe or the Tonemaster? I would still buy a Deluxe.
Yeah,
I'd buy the Valve Deluxe. From what I've heard, I think it sounds good. I don't quite get the. I don't get the concept. I don't. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of like 1 amp, 1 sound, because it's digital modeling. I like that idea, but then you think, well, hold on, couldn't they just put
if you've got digital modeling, It just seems it's like the one-trick pony digital modeler. What's the point in that?
Yes, and just playing devil's advocate with what you're saying, I get it, because it's like it's for the people that don't want that. I mean, valves are getting hard to get hold of, and valves are getting expensive. And what's going to happen in 10 years' time? Who knows? All these expensive valve amps are all going, oh my God, we've got to pay £1,000 to get them revalved.
Yeah, but enjoy it while you can now.
Yeah, I guess so. But yes, there's got to be the next stage of things, and maybe.
Have you seen Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Nature finds a way. Guitarists will always find a way to get valves.
Oh no, definitely. But we're gonna have to pay for them.
Someone in a foundry in some grotty, stinking corner of the world will go, I shall make valves and I shall corner the world. Someone will do it. Someone will buy up loads of old valve making equipment and find a loophole in some ecological treaty that means they can make them. That's what will happen.
I love that.
We'll pay through the nose for them, but we'll still want to do it. It's like, there are alternatives to petrol cars, and yet people still buy petrol. People still buy V8 Mustangs, and
sure.
It will always happen.
The mayor says, "What time is it there?" At the moment, it is 21.
21.
Pet says, "I watched a Maton Tommy Emmanuel signature versus a D28. Both sounded great. I suppose where one shines over the other in terms of frequency range can be tweaked with EQ and plugins." Yeah, but anything Tommy Emmanuel plays would sound awesome.
It's going to sound quite good, isn't it?
Yes, he's very good. Kreenar says, "I like the fairly new orange Super Crush 100 head. Sounds great." Yeah, that's the tranny one, isn't it? Transistor one. Interesting, yeah. The mayor, it's 3:14 p.m. in Louisiana.
Well, it's now 3:22 in Louisiana, but we get the point.
Yeah, nice. I'd like to visit Louisiana.
Me too.
David Brose, don't underestimate Terry Kath. Holy ships, 20,000.
It's a lot of money for a guitar. It's a lot of money for a new guitar as well.
Yeah. Pet says, question for you both. Favorite guitarist, singer, musician who isn't technically great, but their idiosyncratic ways just resonate with you.
Oh, okay. Oh, isn't technically great.
So it's got to be. Has it got to be a guitarist who's also a singer?
No, I think it can be guitarist, stroke singer, stroke musician. I'm gonna be very controversial.
Go on.
This is the not technically great bit, because he's not a master technician in the eyes of guitar players of the current day. But I love Jeff Beck in that, who fits for me in that space.
I think you probably just said something very controversial, because
I know
Jeff Beck is considered to be one of the greats.
I don't consider him technically amazing, though.
I think this is. I think I'm going to say something controversial. I find it quite hard to listen to Jeff Beck stuff.
Right. Okay.
I think he's brilliant. What was that song that he had on guitar? What's it called? Guitar Works or Guitar Shop? Do you know the ballad one? The We Ended as Lovers.
Yeah.
Song? That's amazing. And it's just like, it's him when he's playing.
Yeah, he's got one of those tones. There are very few guitar players where from one note when they play it who it is.
Yeah.
Brian May is one of them.
Yeah.
I would say Clapton is one of them.
Yeah.
I would say Jeff Beck is one of them.
Yeah.
You hear a few notes and you can start to pick out people like Eric Johnson. You can start to pick out Lukather to a certain extent has a style. I mean, he can switch on any style. But when he plays when he plays, he sounds like Steve Lukather.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? Not considered. Do you know what? Actually, I mean, not musically, technically incredible, but I love the playing of Tim Finn from Crowded House.
Yeah.
Because when they put stuff together, just amazing songwriters, amazing singer-songwriters.
Yeah.
And I'd say genuinely, I don't think Crowded House ever chucked out a bad record.
No, I think. Yes, no. I think you're right. I think Crowded House are just.
They were. Let's ignore Split Ends. If we can just park that one, please, that'd be nice. I'm trying to think who else I listen to. I love listening to and don't get too hung up on the tech. I mean, people are saying, and David Brose saying Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson is widely regarded as one of the finest guitar technically players on planet Earth. The mayor said Neil Young. I can't stick Neil Young.
I struggle. Yeah, that's another guitar player that I struggle with. Definitely. Yeah. And again, lots of people really like him. I think so. A guitar player that isn't considered technically great, but Dave Kooning from Killers. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where I can answer all of these. I would say, like, guitarist Dave Kooning, singing Brendan Flowers. You could put the Killers, best, as far as I'm concerned, the best songwriting band.
For many years.
An incredible band. Just an incredible songs, incredible band, incredible musicians. But I think Dave Kooning's parts that he comes up with are just amazing. And I feel the same about the bass player as well.
They're a proper band. They're, in a bit that I put them in a similar vein to the Kings of Leon, because Kings of Leon, all their parts are always really interesting. Certainly the guitar parts, when they layer up really nicely and work together. And Killers are the same. I'm trying to think of bands. Who was the guitar player in? I mean, the whole band was amazing, but the original lineup for Blood, Sweat and Tears, the original guitar player with them was absolutely off the chart, but not for the number of notes he played, just for the way he played the notes.
Yeah.
It was a 335 into a Fender Twin cranked, and it just sounded incredible.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of other people that I really. God, there's so many. I mean, let's go through. And various people are saying, obviously, Eric Johnson's there, Neil Young's there.
Yeah, but Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson is an absolute,
technically amazing,
unbelievably.
And without Eric Johnson, you wouldn't have Joe Bonamassa.
No. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are getting confused with. There's a lot of great guitar players that people listening. I think Pet's question was, who isn't technically great, and Warren Ames is pretty good. He's pretty good. Derek Trucks is really good.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page. Now that's an interesting one. I watched something on YouTube yesterday, and with Jimmy Page, it was like Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton and someone else was playing.
Was that the round table thing?
I think it was.
Where they're all sitting there, and then Jimmy Page picks out.
No, it wasn't that. No,
there was a great thing. He showed them how to play Kashmir properly. He said everyone does this, but that's not how to play Kashmir. It's real amazing.
Yeah, but God, he was ropey on that night. He was ropey.
Do you know what?
Yeah, he went through a state.
I tell you who I'm going to add to this list, and because I love him for what he does and his technical, as in electronics technical, I'm going to add Robert Fripp to this list.
I really struggle listening to Robert Fripp.
I know you do.
It's too much for me. That's too much.
I know, but technically, as in fingers, he's not the greatest player on planet Earth.
I agree with you.
But he has brought a thing to the party that nobody else could have done.
Yes, I agree with that. Genius, absolute genius.
Bonkers.
John Waller. John Waller, Kurt Cobain, great choice.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain, great, absolutely amazing choice. Jack White, jury's out for me.
No, but I get it. I mean, the guitar. Jack White changed music.
Yeah.
Jack White if it wasn't for Jack White, we wouldn't have, fuzz pedals there wouldn't be such a massive,
No.
Thing on fuzz pedals, because he brought that back.
Actually, I'm gonna add, Johnny Marr. I'm gonna add
Johnny Marr, but Johnny with great parts.
Yes, it's all about composition. It's not about technically having amazing fingers. It's about writing amazing sounding pop riffs.
Yeah,
big guitar riffs that just work.
Yeah. John Martin says, Mike Ayton.
Yeah.
Johnny Ramone, keeping your hand on a bar chord shape for an entire gig must hurt.
It hurts. It hurts when I get to the end of a song and I'm like, just make it stop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this one, but no, I'm sorry. Stevie Ray Vaughan is probably one of the most technically amazing guitar players I've ever heard.
Amazing guitar player.
It's all about the tone and it's all about the gauge 13 strings.
Okay, so can we go back to Bruce, because Bruce is Bruce says,
yeah. Well, I'm going to dive back. We've got to go back quite a few because we jumped through to get we jumped through to get to some names.
Okay. Chris P, thanks for tonight, guys. Your chat's stopping me from losing it while I change a hard drive and keyboard on my old MacBook Pro. So many little bloody screws. Yes, that's a job. That is. David Bruce, because we ended as lovers. Stevie Wonder, Jeff Beck is a god. He is. I think that song is brilliant.
We haven't. I mean, the daft thing is, in his own band, and this is a name we haven't thrown out there. In his own band, he lets rip occasionally, but Mark Knopfler. Why is no one? Because
Mark Knopfler,
just one of the greatest lyrical players. One of the greatest lyrical solo builders of anyone.
But he's great. I'd say he was really technically great. I thought his technique was fantastic.
One of my favourite guitar players growing up.
Without doubt. I'd love to meet Mark Knopfler. Damon Michael says, what guitar shop is an awesome album? Where were you guys? It's of an era.
Yes.
Listen to it. It's very much it sounds like the 80s. Especially the track guitar shop with all the drum sounds are like gated to hell. Have you heard it recently?
Not recently. Another musician guitar player we haven't mentioned is probably the most prolific singer-songwriter of all time. Bob Dylan.
Yeah, but he's a drummer, isn't he?
Yeah, but musician songwriter was all in that kind of Bob. I can't stick Bob Dylan. I really can't. I know that makes me some kind of heathen. I can't stick Bob Dylan.
Do you know what? You could just honestly, if you could just play like a Killers on repeat for me, and I'll be happy for the rest of my life. Love it. Yeah. Pet Moxie, Neil Young is someone I instantly thought of. Plus, his voice was laughed at during Crosby and Stills years. Love his voice and acoustic playing, not so much electric. Took Troll. How could you listen to Where Were You and not like it?
That's the wonderful thing about opinions. Everybody's got one.
Well, Where Were You? What's Where Were You?
I'm guessing it's another Jeff Beck track.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know which. No. I don't know. Where Were You might be amazing. That's definitely not the track that I was referring to. Pet Moxie, I'm a big Stone Roses and Smiths fan, and their vocalists are very flat on occasions. It adds to the charm, though. Choose that any day over autotune. Yes, absolutely.
If you want to hear flat vocals that made it through to pretty much every track she sings on, listen to anything by Florence and the Machine. The vocals are so out of tune, but it's her sound.
Yes, I agree. Yes, she's quite hard to listen to sometimes. I think she's great. I
mean, she's as a girl who has obviously learned to sing in front of bands. My God, she's got some pipes.
Yeah.
Because she puts a lot of noise out. But
I love her before. I think she's amazing performance.
Yes,
always.
Yeah,
really good.
We've had Joey on, haven't we? Right, here we go. Back to Bruce.
Bruce says, still trying to find schematic for Independence 35. Found every matches model so far except that one. Do you know what? I wonder if that's because that was one of one of the new ones, which they're being a little bit more protective over the schematic of.
I mean, I'm sure if in your phone call later on this evening to them, because you have the number, I bet if you asked for the schematic and said, I want it from I bet they'd send it to you.
Yeah, maybe.
If you ask nicely. I mean, don't go say, I mean, the word's not to use a, do you know who I am? And he'll say, no.
I don't think I could ever use that. Do you know who I am?
Here's an interesting one.
Chucky Berry.
Yeah.
Chuck
at the time, he was a technically competent guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, he was great stuff.
Yeah.
Here's another name as well, a name that doesn't get banded around that often. I love Dave Matthews Band.
I tend to struggle with a lot of things, don't I?
I love Dave Matthews Band. I love Matchbox 20. You know, two bands that never really broke the UK.
Dave Matthews, I don't get it. It's too much. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get trying to write a song and then just like, oh, do you know what we're going to do with this? Let's make it non-accessible to the public by putting it in 9/8. Stuff like that. It's just like, why have you done that? It could have been a great song. I know you're drunk. You love that stuff. If it's not 4 or 6, mate.
Do you know what? I actually don't. I don't get off on that stuff. What I get off on is laying these days. God, probably 20 years ago, I'd have given you a very different answer. But actually, I just get off on playing the groove and like a bass player and me really locking it in. And the best fun I've had on gigs has been when we've had drums, percussion, and bass, and we've all just locked in absolutely solidly. And I've been able to just sit there and lock it, and the percussionist has given it all the beans, and I'm like, this is great. Just really solid with a bass player who just wants to. Ben Hearn is that bass player. I've had so much fun with Ben.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Mark Knopfler is technically awesome. He sure is.
Yes.
Awesome. Damon says, no, I meant the song Where Were You? So beautiful. I can't think. I know. I'll check out. I'm sure it is. I would check it out when we finish.
You'll forget.
Knopfler, no. Knopfler, love him. Nice studio too. He has got a lovely studio. John Waller, love Florence and the Machine. I think she's done some great tunes, without a doubt. Phil Cartoons, setup question. I'm treating myself to a PRS for my upcoming significant birthday. I play 9s, but they seem to be all set up with 10s. Ask for a new setup or convert to 10s. It's a good question, actually.
It's a great question. It also it kind of comes back to something that I kind of prepped Paul for as a talking point. As in, if we ran out of things to talk about, like we ever do, what makes the guitar the right guitar, either for you, the player, or for the song you're working on? What makes the guitar right? What makes you go, I'm going to start with this one and go, no, or I'm going to grab this one and go, yes. If you have one guitar, it's a very simple choice.
Sure.
But when you've got several, what is it that makes you go, this isn't the right guitar for this song, or I'm not feeling it, and makes you reach for something else? Or what is it that makes you go, I'm going to use that guitar? Because, you know, are you using actual common sense going, oh, I think I want a richer sound. I want something with humbuckers. I'm going to play a solo on this. I want it to cut through. I'm going to have something with single coils. Or are you just going, grabbing, trying, putting down?
I do think this is a subject for next week, because I think it's a bigger subject. It's bigger than what we've got time for. But I think it's mainly on past experience to what we're used to hearing.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you're doing let's have a think. If you're doing a rock song and you want to sound like Slash, you're not going to pick up a Telecaster, are you? Or a Stratocaster. Yeah. So if you're doing a rock, or you know, if you want to sound like Clapton, you're not going to pick up a, you know, if you want to sound like Clapton, you're going to pick up a Strat. If you want to sound like John Mayer, you're going to pick up a Strat. You're not going to pick up a Les Paul, because you definitely cannot get that sound from that. And I think it's predefined by what we've grown up with, what we're used to, as opposed to you can't do that. But I've got loads of sort of
Okay, we'll park this one for next week.
Yeah,
park this one for next week. Really so nines, live with nines or convert to tens. Or get the guitar reset up with nines.
If are you ordering a PRS? If you're ordering the PRS, I'd probably have a chat with the shop you're ordering it from and just say, can you get them to set up with nines?
And actually, if you're spending PRS money and you're buying it from a store, whether you're buying it new or second hand, get them to throw a setup in.
Yeah. If you're buying I mean, I was going to say get it done in the factory.
But if you're buying from Anderton's or someone like that that's got techs on site, get them to do it.
Yeah. Any guitar. If you're buying a PRS, you're spending some serious cash. Any decent shop. I mean, if they don't do it, I'll probably walk away from that shop.
Yeah. At this point, though, we should also go.
Pet's done it again. He's gone double bubble. Pet Moxie, feel guilty for hogging the chat tonight, lads. As someone approaching 40, this is my new weekday beer event. Beers. Yeah, I need to start getting back to Wednesday beers. I normally hold back my beers until Thursday.
Well, I'm over tomorrow, so we can have a couple before I leg it. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cheers, Pet. That's very kind of you, mate. Can we go back? Yes. So, try and get it set up. I mean, if you're used to nines, stick with nines. Nines sound great. I mean, I use tens on all my guitars.
Tens.
Yeah.
I use nine. I did use nines for years and never had a problem. I found that the more I was playing, when I was gigging, because I was playing a lot and I was getting a lot stronger.
Yeah.
In both hands, I was starting to get a bit too strong and digging a bit too hard and break a few too many strings. Hence, I went up to tens. At one point, I was playing 11s because I was playing so much and gigging hard. Bad technique.
Sure.
I went up to 11s and I found sustain was amazing, and because I had strong fingers for bends and stuff, it was. There were other benefits, but tens for me is the best balance between being able to bend strings and having the tone. Hence tens.
I agree. I think the only thing about nines are that if you start to play a little bit harder, if you start to really smack the strings, they tend to.
They're going to give up.
Well, they just. I don't think they intonate as well. I think they go out of tune a bit, because you're pushing a bit harder and you're getting into it. But no, if you use nines. Great. Get them to set up. Yeah. Next one. We've got to wrap this up pretty soon because I've got to go and look after the dog. Yep. Back to the bike. Hey guys, can you remember the first time you were able to jam confidently and what you think helped you to do it? I think you can do a gig. I could go to a gig if I wasn't in the right mood. I could go to a gig and not feel that I'm even now be able to jam confidently, or I could go to a gig being in a confident mood and feel great. And
I think the thing that gave me confidence to do it on jam nights and just turn up and play was having my bag of tricks, my bag of licks that I could play in any key.
That's true. Yeah.
And we're not talking 50. We're talking 10 good, solid. I know them. I can play them in any key, and I can throw them together. Probably most of my guitar solos, even now, are that. I've got 10 licks. I can play in any key really fast and tag them all together, and people go, "Oh, you're a really good player." No, I've got my 10 licks. Get those 10 licks. It's like, there's the internet thing, your first £1,000. Get your 10 licks, learn any key, learn how to string them together, learn the interesting stuff, and people will go, "Wow, you're a great player." It's a trick. It's not much of a trick, but it's a trick.
The mayor says, can't take Dave Matthews. It's hard listening. Robbie Krieger from The Doors created some great lines. He did, definitely.
Yeah.
Then Tone, based on the extraordinary rate of new guitar sales and lessons, look for a ton of new guitar talent evolve over the next several years. That's pretty true, actually.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. John Gordon, have a Strat and a Les Paul. What would you go for next that's sonically different? Telly or Gretsch? Telly. once you get a telly and you'll go, what have I been playing all these years? Why haven't I found a telly? Go and get a really good telly.
Yeah, he's right.
A telly can do anything. I think I would, if I had a Les Paul and a Strat, I'd have to take them both. I'd take them both with me. If I had those three guitars, I'd only pick up I'd go, right, I'm doing any gig, I could take the telly and it could do any gig. Bruce says, if you're at the level where you're buying a PRS, you should be able to set up your own guitar. I sort of agree. I think it's a good idea to know how to intonate, and how to intonate your guitar and how to adjust the truss rod and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, fair enough. Next one. Safety says, okay, I have to ask this, James, did you do theatre acting? Your people and sound impressions are uncanny all the time. What people and sound impressions? What do you do?
I think it was from my appalling Welsh impression, see?
Oh no, James's impressions of any country either sounds like he sounds like an Indian
a Russian Pakistani normally is what I sound like.
That's exactly what it sounds.
Thank you, Safi. I'm not necessarily sure that's accurate, but I'll accept the comment. No, I have trodden the boards in my younger years, but only once. And no, my theatre going is either in the audience or in the usually. But thank you.
Matt's in the house. Evening all. Sorry I'm late to the party. Have either of you used a wireless guitar plug like the Boss? My guitar keeps getting caught under my chair in the studio. I wouldn't touch a wireless in the studio.
No, the only time I use a wireless in the studio is for my headset when I'm wandering around and doing videos.
But not for guitars.
No, definitely not. I've used wireless on stage an absolute ton. And I use the Sennheiser G3 Evolution G3 series. Amazing.
And my cable's always getting trapped under the chair, Matt. Just unfortunately, it's one of the things we've got to live with. But yes, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Phil Cartoons, I wouldn't trust myself, Bruce. I'd sure mess it up. Agreed.
Various people are agreeing.
Depends on scale length for me, string size. Okay, next one. What's the best method? What's the best method for playing the skin flute? James is probably a better, and more of an expert.
The skin flute. No, I've never played the skin flute or the or any oboes or.
I love that. I've never heard it called a skin flute.
I love the fact that we're actually giving a what's the word? A troll some airtime. So there we go.
No, yeah, but if it's that good,
yeah.
Chris P, I play 9s on Fenders and 10s on Gibsons and Gretsch. Everything else, I don't know why. I just always have.
Yeah, that's often.
Yeah, well, also, it's scale length.
Also, if you tune down, you might want to. If you tune down, it might be different.
I really need to wrap this up. So
I know we're going. Don't worry. Sorry. We're going as fast as we can.
I've had heavy gauge strings on my acoustic for ages. Took it to a luthier. I know for some work, and he had to lift weights and get on the protein shakes to hold down a G chord. Ned Amido says 9s feel very flimsy on my Squier Affinity Telecaster. I'll switch to 10s on that one. I use 10s on a Strat tuned in E flat standard, also on a PRS Custom 24, same tuning. 10s on everything. Yeah, it's all about scale length for me. I mean, I use 10s on everything, but a Gibson 10s on a Gibson tend to feel very light. 10s on a Strat tend to feel quite an effort.
Again, I couldn't tell you the difference because I just do it. Right, let's call it a day before Paul has a cardiac arrest or a coronary or something. Same thing. We will be back next week with the same kind of musical guitar tech chaos thing going on. We do talk other flavors. We talk drums and tech and all sorts of stuff as well if we have to. So if anyone's got any drum questions for me, please, I'd love to tub thumping with someone. Anything else going on this week? I'm spending the day at Paul's tomorrow, so expect a whole load of new content coming from the Rats website. If I can put on the YouTube channel, if I can persuade Paul to actually do some work. But for now, we will sign off, and we'll see you next week. Have a safe week, everyone, and we'll see you again very soon. Good night, one and all.
Charles.